Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Big Brother Canada 11 coverage for Rob as a podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and we are here today to go over the cast announcement drop that happened today here on March 1st. With me to talk about this cast here for Big Brother Canada 11. It's Pooya. How you doing, Pooya?
I'm doing well. Did not expect this. My speculation was that we were going to get a cast teaser in the middle of the Survivor premiere tonight in the commercials. Now, we got the full thing, so we're here obviously ahead of time, ready to talk about everyone. It's been a whirlwind of an hour and a half for me, but it's bittersweet, Taran. And I feel like let's talk about this out the gate. Let's put it out there. Yes, we know there's no feeds. It's been confirmed there's no feeds. The feeds tab was removed from the BBCAN website today, which makes it even more official. Arisa tweeted, which makes it even more official. So it was bittersweet because I really like some of these house guests. And every single one I liked, I just thought, damn, I'm not going to really know you. It felt weird. I didn't love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you have when you have like a breakup, you know? And then you go and you do the thing that you used to do with the person. And you're kind of
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, this is exciting. Oh wait. It's not the same."
Yeah, it's like you're getting that same meal you both used to get, and you're like, oh my god, yes, it's at the table. You take one bite, you feel that immediate good, and then you immediately like, but the person that was sitting across from me isn't here. That's sad.
Yes. All right. Well, it is unfortunate. We will be talking through our first impressions of the cast. And I think right from the top, there is a member of the cast that that some of us may be aware of. In fact, we have a guest here as well to jump in and talk about him. Who's this? Jacob Jones. Whoa, what is Jacob Jones doing here? Uh, you're
Still muted.
Jacob.
What a professional.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Wait, can y'all hear me
Jacob?
okay?
Yes. How you doing this morning or that afternoon?
My stomach is a little wonky, but I kind of got re-energized with seeing a very sweet person on this cast, and I was elated. And also, Pooya, I haven't seen you in a while. You look amazing. I like the pink fuchsia moment that you're rocking. Taran, I texted you that you look so cute on the what did y'all do the other day?
Draft, yes.
Survivor on the draft. And here I am.
Here you are to talk about the first member of the cast here that we're going to be talking about, Daniel Clark. Jacob, can you tell us who Daniel is?
Daniel is a Canadian. Well, they're all Canadian.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not important. We can keep that for the chamber. But Daniel is Daniel is a ball of fun. I met him through an online game that Pooya and I actually played together. And then we stayed in touch in a little friendship circle, text group, FaceTime, everything. And he has been applying for this show since like season 1. Loves, like, a huge super fan, involved in the Twitter community. Like, he actually, yeah, I think I can say this. He actually, I think in one season of Big Brother, they brought some fans to the house to like have like a simulation of Big Brother. I forgot what season it was. And Daniel actually went inside the Big Brother house and played with like different fans. I think it was like for a day, 24 hours. And he like slept in the bed. I think he slept there. But he went in, I saw the video. So this is like his life. And I think he's gonna do amazing. Is he your ex? No, he's not my ex. He's not my ex. He is not my ex. No. But,
okay, so Daniel Clark, he's 33. He says he's a graphic designer. He described himself as loud. Is that an appropriate description?
So do you think I'm loud?
100%.
I think Daniel, he can be loud when he's in a silly, goofy mood, but I think at his innate, he's just like a sweet Like when he's like, he has a huge laugh. I think like that's the loudest thing. But I don't know if I would describe him as like loud, but he can be loud when he's in like this silly, goofy mood. He has a bright and bubbly personality.
I'd say energetic. Yeah, energy probably more than loud.
Very energetic. But I think him in this house, I think it's gonna like take some time for him to like warm up to people in certain capacities. But like when he does, he's gonna be fucking in his realm. Like that's gonna be his like nestle.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. He was a winner of Sequester.
He was a winner. He played like the early turns of Sequester, and he won. And so I didn't watch his game, so I don't know how well he did. But we did work together in the game that me and Pooya played together, and and yeah, he got eliminated early based off of like a twist and like some wonky shit. But like Taran, as excited as I am right now, I like Daniel is a thinker. He's smart. Like, and I don't think he is as reactive or responsive as like a person playing an online game might be. I think he's very calm, cool, collected, silly, goofy, sweet, personable, comforting. I think comforting is the word that I would most describe him. And kind. You see this hair on right here? You see this?
Yes.
For the longest time, I used to get ready. I used to just sprinkle water on it. Daniel, Jacob, I got you. He sent me a mister for my head. If that's not brothership, kinship, no romantic shit, as someone said in the comments in my ex. But like he has the knowledge, he has vibration, whatever. He has the vibe to like fucking kill this.
So he sent you something that sprays your head. What does it say about me that I sent you a bidet?
Well, he sprayed my head and you sprayed my bottom. Taran's sick.
He said he had a lot of ideas and said he could fit into a lot of different groups. Like, hey, I'll be with the bros over here working out, and then I'll be with like the women over here. Do you think that's kind of an accurate sort of description of how you saw him playing?
Yeah, I definitely think, and even just like even our like a friend group that we have, like he is always like surrounded by some baddies. And I think like the women are going to be like his sweet spot because I think that the women may form a protective layer over Daniel. I think they're going to want to protect him. And I could definitely see him growing it up. I think his sweet spot is definitely going to be like with the ladies and kind of getting in that vibration. I mean, sometimes I think I'm a bro when I get into my trade mentality a little bit, but like, and so yeah, I think anyone can throw in a tank top, lift some dumbbells, throw them down, chug a beer, and say, yeah, what do bros say? Like, look at that ass or some shit like that. I don't know.
That what bros say?
I can definitely see him switching and being extremely flexible with his personality, adapting to others. He's so sweet that like I could even see him flirting, like light flirt, like light flirt, like innocent flirting, not like smack down, powwow, and it's no live feed. So anyone can get it on in this house. He's single. I don't know if he's ready to mingle, but I think he's open to it. I don't know how his romantic game is, but yeah.
He said to Jed that he wanted to target showmances. That might be something he is interested in doing.
I think that's hot. I think that's hot. Like, I think it's so hot. I think he has the like backing to formulate a plan and get the people a part of it to execute it.
Pooya, you also played with Daniel. Do you have any sort of like insight based on your experience?
So in the game that I played with Daniel, we were on opposite sides in that Daniel was working with people, not including me, but we were very cordial. We were very cordial when we did our little pregame messages to each other. Was nothing but nice. I felt like I could work with Daniel easily, and just I felt like Daniel's like a bit of a chameleon, like has been mentioned. I think Daniel can bro down with the bros. Look at that ass, as Jacob would say. And then also, powwow with the girls. Like I think he's gonna be a good spot in the middle. In the global interview, I felt like Daniel mentioned wanting to work with the showmans. Like if I work with a girl and then she finds a guy, and then I could maybe do something there and work there. It gave me the impression I got is in BB18 when Devon finds herself in the middle of the showmances. I feel like that's where Daniel would like to find himself, and if he does, I think could do pretty decently by playing again the middle and trying to jump ship wherever and whenever you would need to. So I feel very optimistic about Daniel's capabilities here.
I think he's gonna know when to jump ship, and he's gonna do it appropriately. He's not gonna like have like a hard on. Oh, I need to get them out now. I need to get them out now. I think everything is gonna be level set, and he's gonna act on when it's time to. And I'm seeing a lot of things in the chat saying Derek F. And I have no issue with Derek F. I think Derek F is a nice person, X, Y, and Z. Daniel does not give me Derek F.
Same.
Derek, I mean, he just doesn't give me Derek F. And I think he is going to be able to navigate the game much more smoothly and much more like, what's the opposite of passively?
Active.
Active, yes, of course. Passive and active. I think he's just gonna like. I can see him like, if not leading, being a part of like getting some credit when credit is due. And I hope that he plays his position just very. He's like the world is his oyster in this game. I literally believe that. I literally believe he is able to funnel himself into any relationship. He's smart, intuitive, a nice person, a person that I think a lot of people will come to him to like, hey, do you want to be a part of my side? Do you want to be a part of my side? So I think he has that going. I don't know. He's just very like, he eats it for me.
Is there any past player you would say he's most similar to?
Is there any past player that I say who is like, at the top of my head, I honestly, because no. Short answer, no. No name is really like coming up right now. I know Jed like says she's like Braden, and like I mean he could be. I don't think I would probably watch Braden's game that closely. I think I have a good understanding of him. I don't necessarily get Braden. I don't necessarily get Big D. I also would challenge people to also think about, just because a Black person, queer, you know, we ain't all the same, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of taking that out of it and thinking like Daniel could literally be the mastermind like Dan is, like, you know, Dr. Will is, X, Y, and Z. So I wouldn't put him that Black queer sort of thing because he is that.
Yeah.
You know?
All right,
like again, he's hot. He's like, I'm just excited for him. And we get along, and I get along with people. I get along with a lot of people, but we're able to have that witty banter. He's able to go back and forth with me. He's just nice. He's just a nice, funny, his sense of humor, as crude and inappropriate as mine can be, he can match it, not to the certain extent, but he can level set me a little bit. And it's just a fun time. And so, yeah.
Is he going to be good TV?
Is he going to be good TV? And what type of way? Like if you're looking for the rah, like, hey, I'm gonna confront you, I can see him being a part of stuff. I can't see him like, yo, you lied to me, like, what's up? In certain situations I can, but I don't think that's his innate being. I see him like just being cool, calm, like being slow to speak, fast to listen. And I think he's gonna be lovable and rootable.
I think good DRs are incoming from Daniel.
Yes.
All right. Any final thoughts on Daniel here?
No final thoughts, all final vibes. I think Daniel is, again, so sweet. I am so excited to see him play. He's been a fan of the show for so long, and I have really high expectations, and I think he's going to navigate himself very well. Can I also say one more thing before I go?
Yeah.
This may be, and as, you know, young, rabbit, horny as I could be, maybe the sexiest Big Brother cast I have ever seen. I have never gotten my...
Drop the list, Jacob.
Okay,
we want the list.
First, the DJ.
Dan
DJ,
Szabo.
okay.
Dan, lay me down, spin me around, padam, padam. The Pisces. What's the Pisces name?
Pisces.
He's black or POC. What is his name? He's a Pisces.
I didn't track their
The Pisces.
astrological
It was in the
signs.
bios.
I don't even remember his name, but he a Pisces.
Ty?
Ty. You know, the 23-year-old, like the ladies, oh my God, they're taking it. They're like, I like, you know, looking at like very visually stimulating people, and looking at this cast long ways, I got very visually stimulated. And it's so sad
Long
that we're not
ways.
going to have live feeds. We're going to have like the little daily bits. But I mean, I think that can cultivate much more freedom to have fun in the bedroom. I don't know what they're going to be doing, but if I was in the house with no live feeds.
Bye, Jacob.
All right, Jacob, thank you for being here.
Mwah. Love y'all. Bye. Have fun.
Oh boy. All right. Well, Jacob Jones, everyone. Glad we had some insight on Daniel here. I'm excited for Daniel. I think that I'm always happy for big fans to come on. That especially somebody who has a little bit of experience playing these kinds of games. We'll see. Like with most of these people, I'm sad for him that the live feeds are going to be off, and that even if he does really well, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, what's interesting here is that when Jed was conducting the interviews, you noticed it too, I'm sure. Jed being like, hey, so you're going to be recorded 24/7. Everyone's going to see everything. How do you feel about that? Do you think they're going to be told that the feeds are going to be gone this season, or do you think they're just going to let them assume that the feeds are on all the time?
I'm sure they'll tell them. I think there's not really like, because I mean, it's such a big thing that there's like a discussion of like, okay, the feeds are off for this, or like, can't remember, Cannon is watching. Maybe they don't have to say that anymore. I think they'll tell them. Jed said that he was given questions to ask, and that
It felt like that because it was the same questions over and over.
And one of the questions was, hey, are you prepared to be on camera 24/7? Canada will see everything. And all of them were like, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, nah, poor house guests. Yeah, they're gonna come out and be like, all right, who's got my clips? Anyone got clips? And we're like, no, there's 5 clips on the Big Brother page right now you can check out, but that's about it, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Let's move over to we'll start going alphabetical order here.
Sounds good.
And we'll start with Amal, who is a 28-year-old super fan. And I say that because that was her listed occupation.
Yeah, occupation super fan. The 2-minute video on the BBCAN website didn't quite explain that super fandom. Obviously, the ET Canada interview does do a little bit better with pointing it out. But I think this is the first time I've noticed occupation as super fan. What is that? Because I feel like you might have the closest occupation to superfan.
Yeah, I feel like of all people in the world, I'm probably the worst person to judge when it comes to this one. But I'm assuming this just means she is unemployed at the moment. I don't really know what else. She says she's watched every season.
Once, not twice.
Yeah, so. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So we're not quite sure what that entails. Maybe, if you're a super fan and you just watch the live feeds again,
you imagine she goes into the house and they're like, what do you do? I'm a super fan
of
the show.
The show, many things.
What do you mean? Like, that's like big, like that's your job? Yeah. It's on my lower third.
Yeah, it's funny because the job title says super fan. In the interview, she specifies, I've only watched every season once, never rewatched the prep because who's got that kind of time? But I feel like the occupation doesn't do her justice. She's super fun. She was one of my top ones that I enjoyed listening to. I think she's going to be very interesting to watch play this game. And in the 2-minute video, she mentions that she does not want to have an alliance. She would prefer not to be in an alliance, which I thought that's a weird thing to say. In the interview kind of specifies a little bit more of, if an alliance comes to me, I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to actively in the beginning be looking for alliances because I might have the wrong read on people, which I think is a pretty salient point. And I'm not mad at that. Although sometimes the game happens week one and all the alliances are locked in and then you're kind of like stuck. So
yeah, I'm not into this. I don't like, she says she doesn't want to initiate alliances. We've seen this play out before. If you do not initiate alliances, it can still work out for you, like to a degree. We saw that happen with Josh last season, where he was very passive when it came to building alliances. But the difference with that is that, like, Josh was this like enigmatic, guy who was very good at competitions, who everybody wanted to work with. And the fact that he wasn't reaching out to people was an issue for him until he finally was able to break through. For most people, this is not going to work out, and quite frankly, for Josh, it didn't really work out. He kind of like got through that first part, despite the fact that he was not reaching out to people, because people were just like, he doesn't want to work with me because he's not reaching out to me. And that's an issue. I think you have to be actively talking to people. You have to be floating the idea of working with them. You can't just be like, yeah, I'll just wait for them to come to me. Like, you have to take an active part in that. And I'd definitely be concerned if she held fast to this rule, of course, noting that every player says things in their pregame interviews that then, you don't usually follow through with all the things that you say.
Right. And for all we know, night one, someone proposes an alliance. Amal says yes, because I didn't initiate it. And this kind of works out because this will open up some other doors. So there's definitely stuff that could happen here. What I did love about Amal is adaptability. That's the word I'm looking for when you do these interviews for Big Brother. If you mention being someone who's trying to be adaptive, someone who's not going to be rigid with the plans that you've come in and mentally set for yourself, and you're willing to change up depending on what the game is, that's always good. I like that Amal mentioned that if there's a confrontation in the house or something, I'm someone who speaks up usually. I'm team justice, but if it's not my business, it's not my business in this game. I'm trying to win. I do like that quite a bit as well.
All right. Well, let's move on then to Anika, who is a 28-year-old investment advisor. A lot of people I've noticed describe themselves as loud. She says, I'm the loud one. She says, I would not be described as nice. She says I would be described as maybe arrogant with resting bee face. And that's not business bee face. That's the other bee face.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about Anika?
I enjoyed her. I think she'll be fun. Did I get you're going to dominate the game vibes? No. Did I get you're going to be on the winner's track? No. But I'm hopeful on Anika. I thought she was fun in the videos. The bio videos, some of them were just over the top. I feel like they're doing the most. They're not authentic. Anika felt authentic, and I appreciated that. Anika also mentioned, I've only watched one season. I appreciated that. Now, I didn't have enough time to watch all the global videos here, just to tell everyone up front. We've had an hour and a half, so I've really tried to watch as much as I could. Anika's one of the ones I didn't watch on global. I was hoping, Taran, if you have, did Anika mention which season? Because I need to know.
Oh, she probably did, and I forgot. It was either the most recent. Oh no, she might have said season 6 actually.
Okay, we love that.
Might have been the one that was season 6.
I love that. That's a great choice. Although, if it was just episode, not ideal. Maybe.
Yeah, especially on a season where there's no live feeds this season, right? Could you imagine season 6 without live feeds? It would be the worst season.
Yeah, that would not have ended well. No, definitely not.
So she actually said specifically, I've only seen one season. I'm going to wing it. I'll be fine. How hard could it be? Which, to me, famous last words.
Yeah, never be like, whatever, we'll roll with it. Again, being adaptable is one thing. Winging it is a whole other ball game because you might not be ready. So we'll see if Anika can survive the first week, 2 weeks. I think she can get her feet under her and do something moving forward. But big key is, how are you going to wing it? Are you going to wing it in that, I don't need to talk to anyone in the first week, it'll be what it'll be? No, don't do that. So we'll see. being passive is not bad, but you got to be a little active too, and you got to be able to jump between the two. So we'll see how Anika does here.
She also describes herself as a team player. And when Jed brought up, like, you got to backstab, she was one of the people that was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. I guess I would do that.
You guess so? Anika, what are you doing here? No. Yeah, let's see. In her bio on the, on her bio on BBCAN, backstab your lines or stay true to your word, stay true to your word. Come on. I mean, listen, but then in hero or villain, she responded villain. You can't be a villain without backstabbing. That's
I think she sees herself as like a mean, loyal person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I'm mean, but if I'm being mean with you about others, then you're the ride or die. I'm not going to backstab you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then to Claudia. Claudia, a 25-year-old marketing coordinator. Big part of her intro video is that she grew up in a small town. She is small. She describes herself as small. She's 5 feet tall. And she kind of just has that like small town vibe. It feels. Talks about how a tall, dark, handsome man might distract her from the game. What did you think about Claudia?
I think you described Claudia. I think honestly, there wasn't a lot to pick from here. 5 feet tall, okay, dancer, cheerleader, so active background. I think Claudia, someone's going to be good with the competitions here. Wants to do a female alliance. This was put out there, out the gate. But then once they got to talking about boys and showmances, I felt like, all right, Claudia's going to get lost in the sauce here. I really do think Claudia is one of our top candidates for a showmance.
Who's the tallest, darkest, and handsomest? According to Jacob Jones, it's
Ty,
it's the DJ Dan.
Dan Szabo and Ty, yeah, are the two.
We'll see. So she says she watched the show growing up, took a few seasons off. So she's not like the biggest fan, but she watched it, which is like really wild to me. The idea that somebody could have grown up watching Big Brother Canada, which to me still feels like it was started like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's only a decade.
So this was a funny one. That Jed asked her what her strategy would be in the house, and she said, "Well, don't want to reveal too much." He was like, I'm not in the game, right? She was like, "Oh yeah. It's fine. It's fine." She did say in her interview with Jed that she was willing to do what she needed to do to win. But in her bio, she said she wanted to be remembered as a respectable player. So hopefully that's the right combination of like do what you need to do while not being like problematic. But we'll see.
Yeah, in the backsaber lines for stay true to your word, went with true to your word. So I don't love that. I think this is someone who could come in with some fire and then a showmance happens and we don't see them again. And by we don't see them, I mean, game-wise, we don't see them. Digital dailies and show-wise, we see a lot of them and we're not happy about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then. We've already talked about Daniel, so let's talk about Jacob's second boy, DJ Dan Szabo. He is 28 years old. His Szabo is, I believe, how he pronounces his last name, but also his alias, as his DJ alias. He says he's big in China, and he's a musician. You can big. You know what? Seeing this picture too, I feel like he's got big that guy from This Is Us vibes. You know what I mean? The brother.
Ooh, you're talking like the one person that's not watching This Is Us. Unfortunately.
I was kind of back and forth on this guy a little bit because I've got nothing against DJs, but when he started a sentence with, I wouldn't call them groupies. Ugh. But
yeah.
Like, oh boy.
What's interesting is Dan Szabo, which based on the fact that his DJ name is Szabo, and there's a Daniel, I think he's gonna go by Szabo, is my assumption. Is that, because again, you're a DJ, you want that name out
Daniel
there.
Too, yeah.
So what I did learn is that there are 3 people in this house that are connected and friends with other alumni that are in the game. Dan Szabo is one of them. Dan is friends with Spicy V, Victoria from BBCAN 9. So they have that connection going. Now, how much of the show has Dan watched? That I don't know, but I would feel confident in saying at least he's watched half of BBCAN 9. Again, someone who I think could get lost in the showman sauce, but also someone that could be fun in the house, depending. We'll see.
He said he has a tattoo that says "seek discomfort." That's a big part of his philosophy on life. He did say that he would be true to his word. Said he wants to be remembered as a comp beast. Also said he is a new fan of the show, not a long-term fan. I will say this is a guy that seems like the kind of guy that will naturally take to the game. Potentially. He talks about strategy, and a lot of it is like, I want to get into a big alliance early. I want to start making moves later. Very basic stuff, but when you look like Dan, it tends to work out for you.
Right.
So we will see. And also like the stuff like, oh, I'll stay true to my word. That's the kind of thing that guys like Dan often say. And then in the game, they're like, oh no, I'm totally chill with doing what I need to do.
Yeah, but also we'll get upset if someone else isn't true to their word.
Yeah, that is sometimes the case.
The hypocrisy.
We will see.
Special.
I think there's potential here, but there's potential in both directions for sure.
Very much that. Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about Hope. Hope is a 23-year-old skills coach is the job description. He seems to be like a lot more than I don't even know exactly what a skill coach is necessarily, but he's got like some organizations where he is teaching basketball to kids and is like building basketball courts back in his home country of Ghana. And so he describes himself as a big ball of energy, big on basketball, if you couldn't tell from before. And he seems very likable, Pooya.
I 100% agree. I really liked what I saw from him. He is someone, because we got a couple of these in the cast this season, athletic guys who say they want to hide their athleticism behind their personality, and Hope is the one person I 100% could see doing that. He has good personality, a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I feel like he's someone who I don't think doesn't feel like he's watched the show all that much, if any, that I know about, but I feel like is someone who can pick the game up, and I feel like is someone who can ride the game out just on the social side and then still turn it on and win competitions when need be.
Yeah. He said he wanted to build as many alliances as possible to, help the fact that he will be seen as a physical threat, which I think is, again, just solid basic strategy, especially for a player like Hope, who's going to be in that position potentially. He is not single, one of the few that is not single in the house, worth noting.
Yay.
I found this to be funny. I'm a big pet peeve guy, but I got to say most of the pet peeves on this cast, very
Kinda
boring,
mid.
very, very lame. He had a weird one. He said his biggest pet peeve is starting a TV show and not finishing it.
Is this a pet peeve he has for other people?
That was my question, because for yourself, it's like, that's on you, dude. That's not a pet peeve. That's just a thing that you do. If it's for other people, like, chill. People shouldn't be forced to watch a TV show that's terrible. Like, for instance, if they get rid of live feeds. So we need to ask him about this when he comes out.
I would love to know. Yes, because maybe Hope didn't quite figure out what a pet peeve might be. Because again, depending on the show, some people may have access to it, some people may not. Some people might be bound to the weekly episodic of it all. Some people might find it online and binge it. So don't gatekeep, Hope. What are you doing? Stop this.
He is one that said he'd stay true to his word. He said he recently became a fan when talking to Jed. Now, this is an interesting situation for me. He talked about adapting in his conversation with Jed. The issue is he talked about adapting pretty much the entire time. Every time Jed asked him a question, he said, I'm just going to have to say adapt again. Yep, adapt. Jed'd be like, so what's your plan? My plan is to adapt. So what are you going to miss in the house? I'm going to adapt. Any showmances? I got to go back to adapt. And it really struck me as not very adaptive to the conversation.
So when you say adapt one too many times, you're closer to winging it than you are to adaptability. So that is a bit of a worry now. But as long as the word adapt is in his mind, I at least like that he is not, again, rigid and stuck to a plan moving forward. If it's not good for him, hopefully he remembers, I said adapt like 8,000 times. Let's keep it.
Yes. The thing that really stood out to me in his interview with Jed was when he started talking about building basketball courts, which is what he talked about in his intro video. He lit up. You can see the passion. You can see like the likability, the sort of I think that this is a guy that will, like, even if he's a little nervous, like he probably was with Jed to start, you get him talking about something he's passionate about and you will be drawn to him. I think that he is going to do well.
Yeah, again, someone who I'm very hopeful about and someone who I could see doing really well, despite potentially the bio not giving me a lot of, what you're getting yourself into. I feel like Hope will, like he might say a lot, adapt, and I feel good about it.
Yes. All right, let's move on then to Jonathan. Jonathan Leonard, a 33-year-old fisherman. He might be the person I have the least amount of notes on, or close to. Not because, he seems very straightforward. He's married. He's a father. He's a fisherman. He gives very fisherman kind of I go out to the sea. I do the thing.
Yeah, good old Newfie boy, Jonathan.
Yeah. He wants to be remembered as a player that played the right way for the right reasons. His biggest, I think this describes him perfectly to me so far. His biggest pet peeve is bad energy, and he gets along best with people who have good energy.
Yeah, all of this to say, Jonathan, pretty boring. Not, and I don't mean that in a offensive way. His bio, his video was nice. He's a positive guy. Life looks good. Kids look happy. Wife looks happy. Dog looks happy. Everyone looks happy. But he didn't give anything else out. There wasn't I'm going to go in and do A, B, C, D and then win the game and then do that and that. It was kind of just run of the mill, just a nice old Newfie guy. And I think Jonathan is probably in one of the front runners for these votes when they come down. The Newfie bump is always true. And when the guy is this positive, I think he could get some other votes too. Because I was watching this with my community in my Discord, and when Jonathan came out, I was like, oh, another John who is Newfie who's from Newfoundland. Interesting. But on a scale of John Party to Will from BBCAN 6, I think he leans closer to the Will side than he does the John Party side as far as game knowledge goes. But he's, again, boring guy, but inoffensive.
Yeah, he said he's been watching since year one, is how he described it. So he has been watching the show.
Yes.
But who knows what I feel like this is the impression we have of him here. This is a case where I think when I was about to say it, I would normally say we'll have to wait and see how we think of him on the feeds. However, no feeds means that we will probably just continue to get this very milquetoast version of him and not really know.
Yeah, what you got from the videos is probably what you're going to get on the show. I agree with that.
All right, let's move on then to our next John Michael Sosa, a 28-year-old project manager. And I really like this guy.
John Michael, yes.
Yeah,
big yes.
He says he loves talking crap. He is a big super fan of the show. In fact, what he said to Jed was he has watched all of the Canadian seasons. He's watched all of the US seasons starting from season 5. And despite that, he's knowledgeable enough to know that he's not as knowledgeable as a super fan.
He's not a super fan.
And that he's like, I know there are like deep dives and stuff. I have not gone into those, so I wouldn't quite say I'm a super fan. But I have seen all of these seasons, which to me means that he knows more than pretty much anybody else on the cast, except for maybe Daniel.
Yeah, I really love John Michael. In his interview with Jed, mentioned John Michael, or JM for short. So it's interesting to see if it's going to become JM moving forward. We'll find out. I really enjoyed John Michael in the short video. John Michael talks about how his parents love Big Brother and are big super fans, and he would watch every episode with them, and that half of him, you know, while he's excited to play, he's kind of also playing for them, which I do love quite a bit. I do like that. John Michael has one thing I don't like, and that is this insistence that if I win HOH, I'm going to take the floaters out. And I'm like, JM, let other people do that. You take the people out bad to your game, JM, please. That is the only bit of a red flag that I may have for JM, but also I think that's one of those things. Once you're in the game, you know who you got to get rid of. I hope.
I mean, so, if you're in the ideal position, I think this is the right strategy, right? He wants to target floaters, align with competitors. If you are in the spot where you are in power, that is the technique, right? The problem is if you're not in that spot, then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
He says it's important to have numbers, important to have targets. He seems to have enough awareness to know these things. This might be a situation where, again, like the Dunning-Kruger effect, like he might be too knowledgeable while also not being knowledgeable enough. Like that could be a thing, but we'll see. He did throw in a grab a life vest reference in his bio. He plans to hide the fact that he's a super fan in the house. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and be like, what is a veto? So that's interesting. Normally I would say on Big Brother Canada, maybe not the call, because there are typically a lot of super fans and it's something you can bond over. However, this cast is not super fan heavy, so this might be the play. And he's also a big video gamer. He says one of his proudest accomplishments is coming in 5th in a video game tournament.
Nice. Do we know what game?
I don't.
Damn, unfortunate. Again, adaptability was mentioned, +1. Also, I like the strategy that JM had of, I would like to adopt an introvert in the house. I like that. Now, this cast got a lot of non-introverts in it, but we'll see if there's an introvert that JM can find to use to his benefit. I'm feeling good about JM. I think JM can do well. I think JM could have fun. Now, if JM goes in and pretends not to know anything, and someone's like, yeah, isn't it called the veto of power? Is JM going to be able to help himself and let them go through with the incorrect terminology, or is JM going to try and correct? Because I feel like I fall in the camp of I might end up not realizing and correcting them and then self-reporting. So we'll see. We'll see what JM does.
We will see. All right. Let's move on then to our next contestant, Kuzi, aka Big Daddy K.
Yes.
Who is not a regular person. She wants to make that clear. She is very single, a pageant winner, and is from Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I originally from Zimbabwe, South Africa. I loved Kuzi. Her energy is unmatched by anybody. I think she's going to be so much fun. She is, if we were doing a draft of let's draft people who you are disappointed to not be able to see on feeds this season, Kuzi's #1 draft pick. Maybe in more places than one, #1 draft pick. I love someone who says that if they need to be conniving, they are, and if they need to backstab, they will, and that they're going to end up being the menace that Canada loves. I love all of that so much. I thought the interview with Jed was really good as well, which, by the way, shout out to Jed. Jed did really well with these interviews. A natural. Yeah. Absolutely great. She's going to be focusing,
stuck with set questions. I think you did a great job.
I agree 100%. I absolutely do love someone who recognizes that, listen, comps aren't going to be my strength. I'm going to focus on the social, going to focus on the strategy. I like that a lot. So I do think that's going to be someone who's going to be good with that. Someone who is single, not trying to be the showman, but if it happens, it happens. I like the idea of, hey, if it's something that ends up being a thing, sure. But that hesitance is all I need to know going in. Being hesitant is a good thing.
Yes, she's also 29 years old, a 911 operator. And I feel like the, pregame interviews and these videos, they're very like hypey. Like the videos themselves are very hypey. Then the interviews are often, it's difficult to gauge personality because you're in an interview and sometimes you're nervous in interviews where you wouldn't be in real life, or maybe you're playing a certain character in an interview that you wouldn't in a regular conversation. I feel like the sort of more low-key version of Kuzi came out when she was talking about her job, and how important it was and how proud she is to sort of like be in this position to help people as a 911 operator, be a first responder, which I think speaks well to her ability to adapt in the game and, sort of wear multiple hats. She says that she is a big fan of the show, getting to the super fan stage, she says. And she said she'd be open to any alliance, which is always a good thing. My biggest concern, the thing that stood out to me the most, she says that she will struggle to campaign against her pride, which is, I assume, meaning like we see this a lot where it's like, I'm not going to go up and talk to the HOH right now because, X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm not going to suck up. Like, I'm not going to, like, that's a little concerning.
Which is unfortunate to hear that, because given her occupation, I think she is someone who can, in high stress moments, be cool, calm, collected. And I think would do a great job going up to the HOH and talking to them and potentially taking herself off of the chopping block. So, Kuzi, I hope your pride gets defeated, and I hope you go up there and you speak, please, because that would just be you getting in your way. Because I do think Kuzi's someone who can be very capable in this game, and could only get in her way if she lets something like that take over.
My hope is that her saying this is an indication that she knows it's something she needs to do, and she'll just not like doing it, which is fine as long as you're doing it.
We'll take that. We'll take that all day.
All right, let's move on then to Roberto Lopez, who is a 30-year-old gym manager. Might go by Rob. His thing said Rob in his conversation.
Legally, Rob has to draft him if he goes by Rob. Just saying. So putting that out there.
I'm not gonna lie. When Jacob Jones was talking about handsome men, I thought I'll call him Rob. I thought Rob was gonna be the go-to here. This is a handsome guy.
Yeah, I mean, gym manager and looks it, got the body, so that's great. Rob is another person that I didn't have a lot of notes on. Because Rob, this will tell you all you need to know about Rob. Rob said, I'm going to be good at both physical and social part of this game, and then proceeded to only describe physical things such as deadlifts, such as holding a pole for hours in preparation. There was no mention of social. I think Rob is single as well. So, Rob, welcome to the showmans, because I think you're going to be the prime candidate.
I think he's going to do well socially. He actually endeared me to him with that line. He made me laugh because he said, yeah, I've been preparing. I've been doing deadlifts. And then they showed him not doing deadlifts, holding on to poles. And then he said, I've also been preparing by asking people to yell at me, and made it clear that was a joke. That was not really.
You like the humor.
Yes. And he says he's done a lot of work on himself, getting, trying to get to a place where he is able to love himself, which, it could mean, certain things, but I think tends to be a good thing that, if you're a very introspective person, you probably have, a bit more self-awareness. He is single and open to love, which was
step closer than showmans, perhaps.
it's like, it's a very different way of saying single and ready to mingle, right? It's just a little classier. You know what I mean? So who knows? He says he wants to stay true to himself in the house. He's pretty new to Big Brother. He strikes me as the kind of guy who's going to go in there. He's going to be like Mr. Nice Guy, doesn't know the show too well, but is going to do pretty well socially. And it's just a matter of can he pick up the game? Can he play the game, and actually do things with the credibility and the sort of like the equity that he's going to be given just by the nature of who he is.
So I can tell you where Rob's fandom began. Roberto is one of the other people who are friends with someone from the cast previously. He's friends with Stephanie from last season. So
Okay.
there's a big chance he watched 3 weeks and then left and then stopped watching potentially. But he is Stephanie's friend. Stephanie did tweet about it. Very excited about seeing Roberto on here. So we'll see how he plays, how he goes about it. I feel like, again, this is someone that could pick up the game as you go along. I think there's quite a few people that are new to the game, and it all comes down to, are you going to be able to take what the game throws at you? And until we get there, that question won't come up.
Yeah, that's wild. So let's move on then to our next contestant, Renee. Renee, who is a 24-year-old law student, says that she loves makeup. She says her family thinks she's a bit much, and talked about wanting a women's alliance.
I don't think Renee knows what she signed up for here. I didn't feel positive about Renee.
Yeah, I think Renee is actually the person I wrote the least about. I think that I just don't feel like I got enough of her person. I feel like we got a lot of like her, her hyped up video,
Her
right?
energy, yeah.
Yeah, like lots of energy. She lives at home. She has a twin, and that's sort of her role, is that she's like her family's always telling her to tone it down. So like to me, it's like I need to know, like, okay, what does it actually look like for you to be toned down? Because like nobody is like this 24/7. Like not even Spicy V was spicy 24/7. You know what I mean? So like in terms of actual personality, how she's actually going to play the game, it's tough to judge.
Yeah, Renee is one of the youngest woman on the cast at 24, with Hope being the only other person younger at 23. So while I don't really think that age is going to play into anything here, I did feel like, again, my big question about Renee is, are you going to be able to pick the game up as you go along? Because I didn't get any indication that Renee is like a heavy fan of the show.
Yes. I think the biggest thing again here, though, is that she mentioned specifically she's always wanted to see a women's alliance succeed. It would not surprise me if she is in there early talking about women working together. So, especially like as a lawyer, somebody probably like very used to like organization, like I could see her really trying to push for that. Whether it's successful or not, we'll have to wait and see, of course. But that's what I expect from her early on. All right, let's then move on to Santina, who is a 29-year-old esthetician.
Esthetician? Yeah.
Esthetician. Man, it sounds weird to say that. She describes herself as a bit of a hippie. She's into van life.
Here we go again.
Yeah. She says she has no fear. But the thing that stood out to me most is that, like, in her intro video, she seemed very nervous, very kind of like reserved. At first, at least, when it got to like, again, her passions, she was very passionate and like, very out there. But then even in her bio, she was kind of like, she wrote something down, was like, actually, can I take that back? Like a little bit hesitant there. And then in her interview with Jed, she was very nervous. It felt like Jed was working very hard to get anything out of her. She had one of the shortest interviews with Jed because she was giving very short answers, seemed very nervous. Now, again, it's not necessarily an indication of how she will be in the house. It just kind of limits our ability to see how she will be in the house, because
right.
I think it's very understandable to be nervous in these situations. She will probably not be like that in the house. However, it might be an indication of how she handles the initial first impressions, which means that she could have some trouble early on if she is going to go in there and be a little bit nervous and be a little bit closed off. That could be an issue.
Right. I did write in my notes that, she did give me worry as a first boot candidate, just based off some of the body language, some of the vibe I got as well. Now, I do think she's a very high variance person where you survive week 1 and 2. I think that energy, I think that aloofness that comes with, giving up all your worldly possessions and going into the van life. I think she's someone who's going to be fine with being in the Big Brother house like that. She does mention also does not love sharing a bedroom or bathroom with people. Got news for you there. You're going to be doing nothing but that for a long time if you want to stay in this house. So we'll see. Let's make it past week 1 for Santina, and the world is her oyster. But we got to get there first.
She feels she'll be competitive in competitions. She's willing to do whatever it takes to win. I feel like she might take some time to warm up. Once she does, she could be in a decent position. I think that she, has interesting stories to tell and is clearly a very adventurous person. So I think that she's somebody that could definitely get in there with a shot if as long as she makes it through that initial burst of social activity.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on then to Shania. Shania, who is a 27-year-old bartender. And this is another one where she made me laugh a few times.
Which part? What was it? The poop emoji outfit? Was it the burping, the fart jokes? Which part?
Well, she said she's a 6.9 out of 10.
Nice. I did like that.
She loves self-deprecating humor. She loves fantasy, video games, anime. This was the one thing that made me laugh. She says she likes guys that look like they're a little bit ill.
What does that mean?
I assume like that guy that dates everyone. The
guy that dates everyone.
Yeah, he was on SNL.
Oh Lord. Oh God. I don't know.
The chat will know.
Chat will know. Chat will tell us. Chat will tell us. It'll be
Pete
good.
Davidson.
Oh,
the Pete Davidsons of the world, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh God. Oh my God. He is the guy who dates everyone. That is absolutely correct. Yes. Yeah, it's interesting with Shania because I felt like she's someone who, she mentioned as a bartender, I come in and people think I have this kind of energy about me. I'm going to be mean. And then once they get to know me, I'm self-deprecating. I make all these jokes. I bring the tension down and they know they can just hang out with me. I think this is someone who could do pretty well in this game. I really do. Now, I did not watch her global video, Taran. Any indication of fandom?
She says she's watched almost every season. But recognizes she hasn't analyzed the show like a super fan would.
We'll take it.
So yes, again, good self-awareness of her relative status in the fandom. She did make sure to say that she feels the best alliances are secret, which is a very key thing to understand. It's obviously a very simple thing to understand, but the fact that she's aware of it is definitely a positive sign. Just in general, like, she seemed to get along with Jed really well, like right from the get-go. Like I felt like Jed was being even like a little bit flirty. And I feel like that's like good. I think that if she has the ability to like get in there with the Jeds of the world, but also has this kind of like self-deprecating nerdy side to her as well, I feel like she definitely has the ability to get in with all kinds of different people in the house. And she talks about that, like as a bartender, she's used to dealing with all kinds of different people. So interesting stuff. I definitely think there's some promise here.
Yeah, I've always said I think bartender is a great occupation for games like this because not only do you have to interact with different types of people, but in different states, right? Because someone will come in, they're fully sober, they're chilling. Someone's 5 shots deep, they're a different person, they're talking like sideways. You got to be able to manage everybody. So I'd like that, and I'm optimistic. We'll see.
All right, let's move on then. We've only got a couple left here, 3 people left, and the first that we'll talk about of those 3 is Ty.
One of Jacob's list.
One of Jacob's guys here. A 28-year-old personal trainer. I feel like, here's the thing. I know we just had a second Kevin winner, but I feel like if you win the show, I feel like your name gets retired for at least a few seasons, right?
Like, as far as like win equity goes?
It just like casting, like no, you can't have Kevin's, no more Kevins for at least 5 seasons. There's already 2 winners. Ty, I feel like he needed at least 1 more season. He just won.
He just has to go by Terrell, and it's different. He just
Yeah.
cannot go by Ty. Because my big worry for Ty, Taran, is this. Using the name Ty. A lot of these people would have, if they're fresh, have only seen like season 9, season 10.
Yeah.
That's not good for you as Ty. Don't love that. Very athletic personal trainer. So physically capable of winning comps. I remember earlier I said that there were a couple people who mentioned they want to hide that they're good at comps. While I think Hope has the personality to do so, now Ty may, but in the video I saw, Ty wasn't giving me a lot of energy, a lot of personality. That could change because these videos don't mean anything at the end of the day. But I have a bit of worry for Ty here.
Yes, he did say he just started watching the show. He was in the Canadian Armed Forces. Big mama's boy, he says. Described himself as superbly single. Wants to be good to his word. Said he would be described as trustworthy. And that his biggest strength is his emotional intelligence. Once again, kind of strikes me as like he's going to go in there. I feel like he'll probably get along with the Robs of the world. They'll bro down a bit, be like, hey, we're good guys. And, again, it's just a matter of like, is he going to then pick up the game? Is he going to be a Ty? Because that's sort of where Ty was when he came in. And then he kind of like developed this kind of more cutthroat version of himself as the game went on. Is that something that this Ty can pull off? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, he mentioned, the way he talked, you talked about how, I think it was Rob who said single and ready for love, or however he phrased it was different. He said superbly single and then said he's worried about getting caught in his feelings in a showmance.
Yeah.
Ty could fall in a little too deep if he ends up falling for someone and get completely clouded. That is definitely possible here. But everything else about him, I think he's primed to at least be fine for like the first month and a half. No problem.
All right. Who's who do we think who's the most ill looking? Certainly not Ty. Because I'm trying to think who would Ty go with, and then who's the most ill looking?
Like maybe Rob, maybe it's Roberto.
Looking ill?
Yeah.
I was thinking the DJ maybe.
Dan Szabo.
He's at least got like the tats and the piercings,
Yes.
Who knows?
That's true. We'll see.
All right. Anyway, we're moving on to Vanessa, a 42-year-old yoga instructor. She says she's been waiting 11 years to play. She's been applying, or she applied at least to the first season of Big Brother Canada. Describes herself as a cool mom. The phrase here is wing mom. She's a wing mom.
Yeah, she's a wing mom. Her strat that she wants is to find an alpha to do their laundry, then control them, then manipulate them. And I would love to see it. I'm not opposed to that. That'd be a fun thing to see play out here. Vanessa looks like someone who can truly do it all. Just seeing the videos from her life, I felt tired and I was sitting. And I was like, if you're doing all of this and this and this and this, I think you could do well. I want to see her play. Guyanese Canadian, has 4 children and yoga and does how it's incredible, absolutely incredible. And I think Vanessa's going to be a fun person to watch here.
Yes, she did say she's willing to backstab, which is always a good thing. She has alopecia and vitiligo.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah.
And she is she says she hopes that being in the Big Brother house makes her family appreciate her more, which is a very mom thing to say. She's very much like mom is a huge part of her identity, clearly. And again, like that strategy of being a mom to an alpha. She loves alphas. I'm concerned about that strategy personally, just because how we usually see this play out in the house, fair or not, is that that position is sort of like you take out Vanessa to weaken the alpha. You know what I mean? That's usually what we'd see, especially early on, is like, hey, let's say Rob has Vanessa under his wing. We need to take out Vanessa so that Rob doesn't have so many numbers.
Yeah, you become the wing pawn in a way.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah. I don't love that.
That's a little concerning. She had perhaps I would say best. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I would say best pet peeve. It's that she hates it when the opening of the pillowcase faces towards the center of the bed instead of the outer edge.
Oh, I agree with that. Because you want the flap where the pillow goes in to be like in the corner, forgotten, ignored. And that's where you put the zipper part too, by the way.
Here's the thing. I think it just depends. It depends. What are you a side sleeper? What side are you laying on the most? Are you getting the phone under the pillow? Are you listening to podcasts?
Yes.
Like what's the technique there? Because you don't want to slide the phone under the pillow on the same side as the flap, because then you might accidentally put it in the flap. That's no good.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Look, there's a lot of stuff here that we got to get through before we can agree with this necessarily.
What you need those pillows where the flap kind of seals on top, like it's kind of like a tight cover. That's the ideal situation. You don't want one with the hole open. I don't love that.
All right, so we will see. I'm a little concerned for Vanessa, obviously being 42, not old, but I think the combination
in the house
of being the oldest in the house and mom being a big part of her identity is going to put her on the outside of how most of the players in the house of like what they can relate to. They can see her as a mom, but will they see her as a peer, as somebody that they are playing with? And can sort of like confide in and sort of like really play as like be partners with in the game. That's something that we will have to wait and see on. But definitely, I think it's not always the best.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers for Vanessa here.
All right. Finally, the last person here on the list, Zach Nielsen, a 34-year-old startup senior vice president. Let me talk you through my impressions here. I first read Zach Nielsen, 34, startup senior vice president, and I said, that title is immediately putting me off.
Yeah.
Startup senior vice president is way too specific. You clearly take too much pride in this. And then in his video, he made sure to point out how the senior in the title, very important to have the senior in the title. I'm a hype man. I've got the billionaire strut. He says he's a serial entrepreneur. He's a big deal in Ottawa, the Kim Kardashian of Ottawa, some might say.
I lived there for a decade. No, you are not. Who are you? I don't know you.
Look,
never heard of you.
He might run for politics one day. And so you know, he might be your governor someday. Who knows? He's the guy that if you've worked in an office, you hate. Because he goes in there and he talks about how Zacts are facts from Zach, and you should be getting to work and having fun and being excited about working in an office. I hated him. I hated this video.
I have not yelled this much over a 1:30 video ever. I did not like him at all. It was giving me crypto bro NFT guy the whole way through. The specification on the letter S I didn't love. It was uncomfortable. It's like you're trying to be the Miz, but you are not the Miz, and you kind of may look like the Miz, but you're not the Miz. So please stop. The Kim Kardashian of Ottawa, you are not. Nothing makes me happier than if you were the first boot, are the first boot. I don't think you're going to be the first boot. And also, he is the 3 out of 3 for the alums that have friends. He is good friends with Emmett from BBCAN 1. So he's watched season 1 and season 10. He bookended it.
Yeah, he said he's seen the first season, the last season, nothing in between. He really just like he makes me think of every like senior VP that I've ever seen who is like, and I'm not saying this is him, But there is an archetype of like a trust fund kid who gets this role. He struts into the office every couple of months to be like, all right, everyone, I've got all these ideas that you've got to do now, and you just have to humor them so that you can get back to work eventually. And then he'll also be the one that like hires like Snoop Dogg to play at the Christmas party. And be like, yeah, we're cool. So we will see. He's on an maybe a carnivore diet, something along those lines. He says, if you want to be the animal, you have to eat the animal. And in his bio, it says it's a fact that would surprise you, that would surprise people about you. His fact that about himself that would surprise people is that I'm very deep. Not joking.
Deep like a puddle. Like, I don't think so. Taran, I just didn't like him. And I recognize that I might come out biased. Taran just pointed out a lot of things in the bio that were red flags, right? A lot of red flags. But also on a personal, I was not vibing at all.
It was such a bad video that like I multiple times was like, this has to be a Jordan Parhar, Dan Giesling. This has to get on. This has to be a put on. But like that's his real job title. So like, yeah. Well, like, what?
I watched these in order of like global first, then moved on to ET Canada, and he was better with Jed. But
he was, yes.
He had really set the bar low, so I can't tell if it was like, okay, yeah, that was fine. Like, of course, it was going to be better, nowhere but up. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But did not love him. But again, you got to have someone you're rooting against, and I've got one.
Yeah. I have a feeling that he is not going to be nearly as bad as the video made him
Probably
seem.
Not.
Reminds me a little bit of Herman last season as well, where like he had the sort of like car
we were wrong on him.
Intro. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is we're having fun here, but definitely bad vibes all around from all of this preseason content.
Yeah. My life is fine, Zach. But so I looked at the cast. Right? I always do this. I look at the cast. First thing I do is, do I recognize anyone? Recognize Dan. I was like, cool. Can't wait to talk about Daniel. Exciting. Then I go into where are you from? And I scroll for Ottawa because, like, I lived there 10 years. I want to have someone from Ottawa to root for. Click. No. Get to Zach. Ooh, Ottawa. Okay. Maybe there's something. And this was the last video because I went alphabetical. Mm-hmm. To tell you how disappointed I was to get this for Ottawa. We'll try again next year, Ottawa. We can do this. We'll see.
All right. Well, that is the cast for Big Brother Canada. And I mean, it's tough to not keep talking about it, but it was frustrating going through this cast because every time I found myself being like, okay, I'm excited for this, I realized, oh, I'm not actually going to get that. This is a very different show now. This is I can't wait to see who the real Zach is. Oh, wait, I won't.
Well, and we may never know. Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple questions in the air. The big one being, how long are these digital dailies going to be? Because obviously, they could be 18 hours. They're still not on par with live feeds. They're still not. But 18 hours, we're going to see a little bit more than, say, an hour or less. So I would like to know how long those are. That will essentially decide where my level of enthusiasm is going to be moving forward. And also, what time are you dropping these and how delayed are they going to be? Because if you're dropping these midnight sharp, that's different than, say, randomly at 4:15 p.m. one day, 5:30 the other, 6 here, 7 there. So we still don't have any announcement on what the digital dailies are going to look like. So I'm going to withhold judgment until we get there. That being said, obviously anything above an hour is stupidly optimistic, in my opinion. Or at least I'm not letting myself think that it's going to be a lot. If it's 3+, I'll take it because I'm expecting nothing.
2 minutes.
Yeah, you're expecting the clips, right? Like the ooh, here's the dodo nonsense they were doing this morning. Here's the rap from day 4.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Well,
It's
here's
different.
the thing, Pooya. They have announced they have a record number of sponsors this season.
Yeah.
And they were kind enough to list out all of the sponsors they have this season, which is conveniently a list of people that you can go complain to about the lack of live feeds.
With handles and everything ready to go. Although technically 8, Taran, because the 9th one
It's true.
is going to be announced on premiere night because that's a special in-game revolution.
A surprise, yeah.
Yeah, imagine tuning in for that special reveal. Like that's the hook. That's the hook. What do you think, Taran? Throw out a guess. Who's the special sponsor?
It's
It does not matter. It does not matter who the sponsor is.
whoever it is, I hope the response is resoundingly negative.
Yeah.
For that sponsor.
They might get it the most because they're getting the stage of it all. Yeah, it was funny because HelloFresh came on. I was like, all right, so I know what ingredients the house guests are going to be cooking this season. Good to know. There's going to be green boxes everywhere. That we still have the Wendy's window that hasn't gone anywhere. I think did Brita filters are a sponsor this season?
I don't know.
So your water's going to be all pure. Listen,
I'd love a world where the lack of live feeds causes more headaches for the sponsors and the show than vice versa would. I mean, that's how it should be. I mean, because like, you know, in terms of controversy, I guarantee you there's going to be way more controversy on this season. We just won't see it. And so if we just like let that happen, then they kind of just like it kind of just goes that way, which is unfortunate. So
yeah.
Keep the energy up. That's what I would say.
The fact of the matter is the digital dailies existed before this season, and they were the clips with the sponsor stuff that they would post. Now the digital dailies are all we get, and we're supposed to believe that it isn't just SpawnCon, and that's hard. It's going to leave me very doubtful. But at least we have the show, Taran. We're hopeful that they'll edit that accurately, right? Maybe. It's been good recently, right? It's not going to be like BBCAN 6, is it?
They got rid of the accountability for accuracy in editing so that they could be more accurate in their editing. That
sounds right.
That's what that was the plan.
We should just run a Brant Steele and call that season canon because it's going to have the same amount of accountability and accuracy.
Look, that's what we had to do for BBCAN 8.
That is true. I remember that. I remember that dark timeline.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the cast for Big Brother Canada 11. The plan is still up in the air in terms of coverage. Obviously, we'll be talking through the episodes after they air. We will have weekly roundtables. Stock watch stuff will continue to happen. Depending on what these digital whatever they are, the videos that they drop. You know, there will be some kind of coverage of those, probably. If they are beefy enough to actually do daily podcasts on them, then that is what I will do. If not, then we'll do something else. But you know, stay tuned. We'll figure it out.
We're in it together.
Yes, we will have a draft for this cast next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are looking to dive more deeply into these players and figure out who's going to win the next draft here for Big Brother, tune in for that. And then again, after the episodes next Wednesday, we'll be live to recap what we see and continue to be mad.
Yep, get ready, folks. We're gonna have a bumpy ride, but remember, we're all in it together. At least we've got the solidarity of all going through it together. It's gonna be tough, but hopefully we can, you know, as we always do when it comes to podcasting, bring the positivity and like the silver linings as far as at least some fun content will be guaranteed here, even if the show might disappoint us once more.
Yes. All right. So that's what we have for you. Thank you all for joining us here today as we went through this cast. You know, good luck to the cast. We're sorry when you come out of the house and this is you're listening to this and you are like, oh, nobody cared about our season because there were no live feeds. We're doing our best, but that's what we have for you. Again, tune in next week for the draft, for the coverage as it starts. Survivor is also starting tonight. So if you're interested in that, of course, We'll have plenty of Survivor coverage. I'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching Survivor live with all of you. And then, when Big Brother Canada starts, I'll also be watching that live with the chat there on Twitch. So tune in for all of that. I will also have the Survivor Stock Watch coming to you weekly as that season goes and starts up here very soon. And The Last of Us coming to a close. I'm doing some of The Last of Us coverage as well. So check all of that out. Pooya, what do you got going on?
Let's see. So I've got 90 Day Fiance still going strong. I just had Jenny Autumn on with me for episode 4. It was a good time. Masked Singer has been back for the last 2 weeks. Tonight, I believe, is New York night, which means Leon and I will talk about that tomorrow. Should be fun. You can check that out. Bel Air has now premiered. Season 2 is upon us. Me and Chappelle talked about episode 1. We're going to have fun with this season. I just know it, so you can find that there. And with Survivor starting tonight, if you still do not know who Taran and I drafted to be on our teams, go check out the Survivor Draft podcast we did 2 days ago. Still there. It's short enough that you can watch it before the premiere. Check out what happened.
And according to Jacob, I looked very cute.
Yeah, Jacob. I guess my message went directly to unsend. Did it? Okay, Jacob. I see how you feel.
He said you look good today.
He did. I mean, he complimented the lighting. He said it was a nice fuchsia thing I got going on. So it wasn't quite to me, but I'll try and not be bitter. It's fine. This is cool. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Pooya. I will be having probably one of my busier months here in March with there. I'm going to be doing a lot of content. Come check it out. Say hi, would appreciate it. And if you're looking for tweets during the season in the form of maybe happy, mostly sad with regards to BBCAN, you'll find me at Pooyism on Twitter.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you. Thank you to Jacob Jones for coming on and talking about Daniel. Thank you to Sam as well for running the slideshow for us here as he struggled to figure out what to do when I talked about who's the most ill. He is currently losing his mind in the backstage. So that's what we have for you. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us here today, and we will see all of you very soon.